Hello buddy, welcome back to another video. Today we got another episode of reviewing NHL teams offseason so far, as today we're going to be taking a look at the New York Islanders offseason, as they were pretty quiet throughout the offseason up until September, where they did like a mass signing of everyone, which everyone was guessing that they were going to do that. But before we get into today's episode, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to slap that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll be very much appreciated, boys. So let's get into this puppy here with the New York Islanders. As you guys all know, they did like a mass signing near the end of the season, and then they also added Zach Parise, which they were rumored to actually, try to trade for this guy a long time ago when they were going to send Andrew Ladd to get up, pick up Zach Parise. But I can't remember exactly what happened. Either the deal fell through or there was some cap problems that just couldn't make the trade really go through, because New York Islanders were in some cap problems and the Minnesota Wild were trying to get rid of Zach Parise, and the New York Islanders almost picked him up, but they decided to sign him for real cheap. I of course don't know what Zach Parise signed, and that's the same with Zdeno Chara. That's where we're talking about them right off the get-go, because they're really not official. They are official. Zdeno Chara is practically official, and I think Zach Parise as well. We just don't know how much money they're getting per year, so that might come out a little bit later on, but for right now we don't know. I'm guessing they're gonna get probably paid around $1 million to $2 million, maybe even less than that. I'm just taking a wild guess, is that that's what they'll be paying, because the New York Islanders don't got a whole lot of cap space. I mean, once Joni Boychuk goes on the LTIR, I think they got like what, 6 million. They got like maybe 1 million left in reserve, so there's not a whole lot of cap space, of course, for the New York Islanders, of course. But I do quite like what the New York Islanders have done this past off season, and this is a team that did quite well throughout the season, going into this year. They actually played quite well. They did struggle at moments of time, and especially near the end of the season, New York Islanders were kind of, looking a little worrisome. Because where did they place? Fourth in the East Division. Yeah, they almost fell out, but they were top of the division, I'm pretty sure, throughout most of the season, until, they started struggling near the end of the year. They still were able to make it into the playoffs, and were able to make it all the way back into the conference finals, of course, losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning in 7 games, which was such a close series. And this is such a close team to be in, a Stanley Cup contending team, especially when you add in the fact that they have Barry Trotz coaching the team as well. That's just such a huge factor. But let's get into Lou Lamoriello's offseason, and let's talk about the trades, of course, up first. Of course, the first deal that they made was sending away Nick Leddy and picking up Panic and a 2021 second-round pick, which ended up being A2 Rattus. I absolutely enjoyed this trade here by the New York Islanders, because for fact, Nick Leddy was not a very good defenseman. Offensively, he wasn't too bad, but his defensive numbers and the way that he played defense just was not good at all. He was just not there defensively there for the New York Islanders, and wasn't a guy that was going to be fitting in their future plans for their defensive core either, especially with Noah Dobson coming up the pipeline and him playing on the power play. Nick Leddy was very expendable, and especially with that $5.5 million cap hit, they wanted to, spend it on other people like Adam Pelich, like Anthony Beauvillier, like Siorkim. So Nick Leddy was easy and was expendable for the team. And this was a very good deal by the New York Islanders. I was thinking, Nick Leddy was going to have to be a cap dump, but they actually got a pick and a player out of this, which Panic is not that bad. He scores some depth goals for you, could play on the third and fourth line, not a bad player. And then, of course, they dumped off Andrew Ladd's contract as well, trading away a 2021 second-round pick and a conditional second-round pick and a conditional third-round pick. It looks like the conditions are the Coyotes received the better of the two 2022 second-round picks. The Islanders currently hold the New York Islanders and the Colorado picks, so either will be one of the best ones. And then also for the other ones, the pick is not transferred to Arizona if Ladd 1 plays in any professional games in 2022-23 while under his contract, or 2 retires prior to the conclusion of the 2022-23 season. So that means the third-round pick if he plays any games while under his contract, and if he retires. So cool stuff. I mean, this was going to have to be the case for Andrew Ladd. You were going to have to dump him off, and you weren't going to get anything back. But at least, they got Andrew Ladd's contract off the team. And I've been hearing a ton of good stuff from Andrew Ladd, and I think he might be playing this upcoming season, to be completely honest. He sounds like he wants, a little bit of a redemption story. So I'm happy, if Andrew Ladd comes back and starts playing really good, which I don't know if he'll be able to, but that would be pretty damn exciting if Andrew Ladd was able to come back and, give it his all. So I would like to see that, but I'm not too sure if he's coming back or not. We'll have to see. But getting into the draft, which, I really like this draft. A2 Rattus, of course, is a question mark with him, right? This was a guy that was supposed to go high up in the first round and somehow fell all the way back in the second round and deep into the second round. So this was a big name and no one picked up on him. And maybe he still has that untapped potential. He doesn't really look at like it after, the rough season he had there in the Liga compared to what he was doing, the year before. He just looked like a lot of a better player, and, not to say that he had a bad season this year. He did put up some good numbers, but, the way that the analysts talked about him and everything in that sort, it seemed like he did drop off a little bit, and, looking at the analytics for his NHL PE, it doesn't look fantastic either, so he's kind of a big question mark, but I like it. I really do like that move because, this was the trade that you got in Nick Leddy, so why not take a gamble on a player who was once very highly talked about? I would take that gamble any day of the week because this could be another future second line, first line centerman, of course, for the New York Islanders. So very smart pick there. Tristan Lennox, another nice goalie prospect, and Enberg and the rest of the guys I'm not too sure about. But moving on to the signings, which I already quite like what he did with the trades and the signings. So let's get into the deals. Let's get into the acquisitions here in free agency, which of course they didn't do a whole lot. Like I said, they didn't do a whole lot up until September 1st. But the first thing that they did was get Adam Pelich back on the team, which I love this deal. 8 years at $5.75 million and is well worth it. Now, I'd like to just say, make sure to go check out my boy Jfresh. His link will be down in the description below for his Patreon. And we're going to be taking a look at one of his cards, of course. And this is Adam Pelich stats. And I absolutely love Adam Pelich because of the fact that he's just looks so beautiful defensively, and that's the biggest reason why I love this guy. He's a very good, stay-at-home defenseman, and he was for the past 2 years. He was a very, very underrated defenseman. Not a lot of people talked about, how good he was, and this year he picked up that offensive game and really gave, the Islanders a guy that could be a top 2 defenseman for years to come for the New York Islanders, and especially signing the contract that he got him to sign was terrific. He's gone right into his prime now. You don't have to worry about paying him big bucks. And I mean, the guy he put up a decent amount of points this year in 56 games, especially in the playoffs. He was a big guy for them. I mean, Adam Pelich was a lot, and I really like the defensive move there. I really like how they signed him and how many years he got for that beautiful of a contract. Really good move by Louis. And then we'll move on to the next one. Casey Zizekas signed a 6-year, $2.5 million deal. I like it. He's a defensive center who's going to be playing on the third or fourth line. Gives really good defense numbers, plays really good on the PK, gives a little bit of offense, but his main prowess is his defensive workings. And getting him on a long-term deal, you're going to have the player last forever, basically. All right, he's 30 years old. That's going to take him up until he's 36. But, if he keeps playing really well defensively over those 6 years, then that contract is well worth it. Bouvillier, he signed a 3-year, $4.15 million deal, and I quite like it. Bouvillier, he's played quite well, especially this past season. He was really good in the playoffs. Really good during the regular season. He has a really, really good shot, and if he keeps developing his game, I think he could be, a guy that scores like 20 to 30 goals a season. But right now he's been putting up around 20, and I could see him, continuing to put that up. A good, 15 to 20 goals a season, even a little bit more. We'll have to see with maybe the higher amount of minutes he'll get. But he's even great defensively, too, with Bouvillier. Just a really nice signing there. And then also they re-signed Kyle Palmieri, the trade deadline acquisition, for a 4-year, $5 million deal. Kyle Palmieri had a bit of a rough season this year, especially when he did come to the Islanders. He wasn't too great up until the playoffs when he really started playing really well. We'll have to see how he does going into this next year. He wasn't very well defensively this past season. We'll have to see if he is able to balance back on that part. But offensively, he could be a very, very strong guy for the New York Islanders. And, this team, I know we babbled on for a little bit, but this team is looking very deep. And that's the thing that I think Louis was, coming in with this offseason, is that he wanted to make this team deeper. And it looks really deep. Defensively, you're not going to be seeing Hickey there. You might be seeing Zdeno Chara. Chara Mayfield is probably going to be the biggest pairing defensively in the league. And then Dobson and Andy Green, I really don't like that, they're going to be planning Andy Green there again. He wasn't that good, last year, and mostly Noah Dobson was carrying that defensive pairing. Their defense is something to be a little bit scared of, but when you have the third line of Wallstrom, Pajot, and Parise, and then Palmieri, Nielsen, Bavoulier, and then the top line's really solid as well. Just a really good, solid built team. And if they have Lee playing throughout the season, not get banged up like how he did last year, this is a really, really strong team with a really, really good, strong tandem. I don't know if I really talked about Syorkin enough yet. He got also a 3-year at $4 million, which, is a bit of a gamble for Syorkin. Since it's just his first year, you don't know how well he'll do afterwards. But if he's going to, throw up another 918 save percentage and play really strong like how he did with Semyon Varlamov this past season, it's going to be a really strong tandem. He was pretty strong in the playoffs. He did give some good numbers there. I think Syorkin is a very good goalie, and I'd like to see, that tandem continue there in the Islestown. But good offseason here for the New York Islanders. I really don't see a lot of losses, going through this offseason. Maybe they could have improved themselves a little bit better defensively, but they're going to be going with Zdeno Chara most likely on the top 4 with Scott Mayfield most likely, and Scott Mayfield did, play very well defensively. He's a very good defenseman, and same as Zdeno Chara, he's lost a bit of that foot speed, but he's still very good defensively. So I think it's going to work out, no matter what for Barry Trotz, and I most likely see the New York Islanders making it in, just because of that offensive core alone. And Barry Trotz, I mean, Barry Trotz is just a god of a coach, and I think the New York Islanders, without a doubt, will probably make it into the playoffs. And, I'm going to give him an A. I really like what they did this offseason. All the signings that they did do were pretty smart. They could have improved a little bit more on the defensive side and not, go with so much age with what they did with Andy Green and Zdeno Chara. I feel like that's two slow left-handed guys, and I don't know if that's the smartest idea in the world, but still a very strong defensive core no matter what. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. I'm giving the team an A for their offseason. Tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you would give the grade here for the Islanders. But I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very, oh my lord, I cannot speak English. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.